Hello everyone, hope everyone's doing well out there, as always. By popular demand, Garry Potter has returned. For those of you that don't know what I'm talking about, my most popular video on this channel was about the Harry Potter movies, specifically criticizing Bonnie Wright's acting, and in that video I decided to get ahead of all the comments that were going to say things like, "You look like Harry Potter, you look like, you got dark hair and round glasses, you're Harry Potter." I fucking know, okay? I know. Some of y'all had some more original takes and comments on my appearance that were not just saying I looked like Harry Potter. There's this one that says I look like James Potter. Oh, look at that. That's nice. Jack from Magic Treehouse. Yeah, that one makes sense. Elvis Costello. Maybe. I kind of see it. Oh, then we got this one here. Harry Snape. Come on, that one's not fair. I don't look like Harry and Snape. Those two combined, that looks like logic. At least according to the new HBO TV series of Harry Potter. This is what I'm here to discuss today. The new HBO series, the conversation surrounding it, the crazy takes, the reasonable takes, everything in between. It's really interesting. I mean, when the show was announced, I was probably one of the only people on planet Earth whose first reaction wasn't, "What? Why?" Everyone in unison seemed to go, "But why though? The movies already exist." It feels like they just and stopped making them. They're already remaking this series, another adaptation of the exact same book series. What is the point? Well, I'll give you one hint as to why they do it. The big ol' this. It's obviously about money, right? If I had to guess, probably what ended up happening is Warner Bros. Is losing a bunch of money. They're doing flop after flop with their movie releases, and Hogwarts Legacy, the video game, comes out and shatters sales records. That level of interest just signals to the studio that, hey, people want content in this story universe. People want more of this story. So they follow where the money goes. It makes good business sense to a degree to just go where the audience is, go where the money is. And people rewatch Harry Potter all the fucking time. It is like an annual tradition for some people and their families to just sit and watch those movies over and over together. And they're not wrong that a ton of people are going to watch this show. Everybody's shitting on the idea and saying that it's like stupid and makes no sense to do it, but it's just a fact that by doing this, they're gonna get a ton of people tuning in. At the very least, just out of curiosity, but I don't know if you guys know this. This is a story that people obsess over, like psychotically obsess over, and make their entire personality, like make it everything to them. It's many people's favorite thing, bordering on the obsession that people have for religious narratives. It is exceptionally well loved and revisited. It makes business sense. It might not make creative storytelling sense, but you gotta understand why they're doing it. That's why they're doing it. Maybe they're totally wrong and I'm totally wrong and it's gonna be a massive failure, a massive flop. That's totally possible. I just don't think that that's true, because I mean, people still be buying like Harry Potter mystery gift things and Harry Potter little toys. That brand still sells like crazy. And this is where some people would have come in and been like, okay, yeah, sure, the story universe is super popular and people really like it, but why not just make a different story in that same story universe then? Why not do a Marauders story? Why not do a Founders series about, Gryffindor, Ravenclaw, and the rest of them? People want an expansion of this story universe. Probably Hogwarts Legacy was really popular in part because it did represent an expansion of the story universe. It was the familiar setting of this magical world, but in a different time period. Essentially no connection to the original story except for Hogwarts itself. And I hear all of this and I understand all of this and I agree with all of this. I actually think it could be really interesting to let somebody take a crack at doing a Founders series or a Marauders series, especially with the Founders. I'm not personally as interested in the Marauders as other people are, because I think a lot of that is just gay porn fan fiction. It's just like, a lot of teenage girls thirsting over these hypothetical young versions of these characters that they have crushes on. And I don't want to watch that. I'm not all that interested in that. I would be more interested in a Founders series. I would love to like explore the origins of a lot of these like wizarding laws and see how things were different in the past, maybe see how muggles and wizards interacted before there was like a rule of secrecy or something like this. There's room in there to interpret and create a new interesting story based on the little tidbits that are sort of dropped into the Harry Potter books. But let's also not delude ourselves that an original stab at this story universe would necessarily be something that's very good. Just look at the Fantastic Beasts movies, which, you know, have their defenders. There are people who enjoy it just as an extension of this story universe. They just want to be inside of it a little bit more. But to most people, those movies sucked. I guess I'm just saying, like with all these other things, these points about originality that I'm talking about, the studio is just following the money. They saw that Fantastic Beasts was attempted, a different story in the story universe, and they flopped. They flopped. People didn't like them and didn't want to go see it. So it's a business. And they're following the money. And filmmaking is an extremely risky business venture by nature, even with these like adaptations and things. Like you would think that making a prequel Harry Potter movie, 5-movie saga would be something that is like a shoo-in to make a bunch of money, but turns out it's not. Even when it seems like it's just gonna be a slam dunk, there's no guaranteed success in this world of entertainment. And so they gotta make the money. If they don't make money, then the studio's not gonna exist, and then nothing is gonna get made. And I'm sorry that that's how it is, but that is how it is. And I still do understand that probably the most satisfying thing that could be done is to have a really well done story in this story universe that is not an adaptation of the books. But we didn't get a Founders series. We got a promise for a live action adaptation of the book series that is supposedly going to be much more book accurate. This is why I think I'm like the only person who is excited by the possibility of this show and understood basically right away why they did it and what they were going for. Because for people like me, for like the people who just love the books and like the movies, I was always dissatisfied with the movies. As much as I appreciate and enjoy them for what they are, and they have a nostalgic and special place in my heart, they just don't compare at all to the books, to me. Not even close. Excellently written with fantastic prose, great characters, great build-up. Everything about it is just stronger. All the extra details make the story make more sense, make it more emotional, make it more meaningful, engaging. The slice of life angle that the books have, that the movies just can't have because they don't have as much time to spend every day with these characters. I mean, in the books, it's like, you feel like you're going to the school with them. You feel like you're following the story of them going through this magical education, and feeling like you're living there is such an important part of what people love about those books so much. And, you know, the movies, it's not their fault. They couldn't really achieve that for the most part. But so for people like me who feel like too much was lost in translation, this series is exciting to me. And I know I'm basically alone in that there's not that many people that would agree with me, and they just think that it's stupid. They're sick of remakes, they're sick of reboots. But I personally would just love to see the books and the depth to be depicted in live action. It sounds like that is the intention and the plan for this HBO TV series. I mean, I get why people are fatigued at the idea of another reboot, another remake, but I will call out the fact that people say that they don't want reboots and remakes and these types of things, but the problem is that people with their actual money give all their money to stories that they already know, that they already are a fan of, that is a rehash, remake, reboot of some kind. If we hate remakes and reboots so much, then why do we keep giving Spider-Man $1 billion every time they decide to remake it? Why do we only ever get our asses out to the theater whenever it's an adaptation of a famous story that people are already attached to, like a comic book or a novel or something like that? Even then, novel adaptations are far less popular than they would have been in the past because, you know, people don't even read as much. So it's like, what do these studios studios have to guarantee success for themselves apart from doing this type of stuff? They can't just take wild risks all the time and all this original stuff if nobody's gonna go and see it. And I'm challenging audiences directly on that. Like, it's like original good stuff actually does get made every year all the time. Just this year, there was some great movies like Weapons, there was Bring Her Back, things that have no relation to any previous property or something like that, but that don't get nearly the amount of attention that these adaptations get, that these reboots get, and stuff like that. So if you're one of these people that thinks that this is ridiculous and a really bad idea, maybe start rewarding originality with your money and your attention. They're not gonna do it if you only ever get up to go see a movie if it's a reboot, remake, or adaptation. And honestly, me personally, I would just like both. I like a good reboot. I like a good adaptation. I like a good sequel or reimagining or something. If it's good, it just all depends on the quality of it. I'm always down to check out more Spider-Man if it's really, really good. You just have to do it well. Then I'm gonna enjoy it. And that's basically how I feel about this HBO series. It's like, I would love the idea of a much more true to the books, fully fleshed out, fully realized adaptation of the book series. And I'm open-minded that could potentially happen with this. I'm also not naive and am well aware that, you know, reality is going to get in the way and there are things that could lead to it not being a faithful or well-made adaptation. You know, there's a million things that can go wrong, but I like to go out and support original things too. And there's room inside of my enjoyment of media to appreciate this HBO remake. I don't understand the like frustration or anger that people have about this. I mean, maybe there's the argument that, listen, these studios have limited resources, and if they're putting all their money into these remakes and stuff, that leaves less room for more original things to be made. But again, I think I would just say that original things are still being made and then not supported by audiences. To me, the real problem isn't studios. The studios are following exactly what they're just going to do. There have been times in the industry where there was a better monetary incentive for original work. That's just not something that people really support anymore. We're not supporting these movies with DVD sales. People don't buy DVDs anymore. They just wait for it to come out on some streaming platform. If they really love it, they may buy it on Amazon or something like that. I don't blame the studio for following the money, is really what I'm getting at. And I don't know, I see a hypocrisy in how people apply this standard to certain stories, but then other stories just get a pass completely and nobody seems to give a shit. Like One Piece is being remade for the third time. There's an original story, the manga, and then there's the anime adaptation that is super popular, super well beloved. People already love it. People already have an emotional attachment to this version of the story. And then there's the live action adaptation that Netflix has done. And then they're going to make another adaptation of it with newer animation, with better pacing. But it's just, it's funny because it's the exact same thing as this HBO Harry Potter show, if not worse, because in One Piece's case, they haven't even finished it. Like in any of them, the original's not done, the anime is not done, and the live action adaptation is not done. This is the fourth adaptation that is coming out for this story when it is not even complete. But nobody cares. Nobody is like having this frustrated, pissy, whatever response to a remake happening. People aren't whining and crying about remake fatigue with something like this. And it's somewhat revealing that what people are upset by isn't remakes themselves. It's something more specific with this story. I mean, I've seen other people complaining about things like the How to Train Your Dragon live action remake or like Disney live action remakes. But when it comes to those Disney live action remakes, I think the problem is just that they suck. Like they're just bad. Like if they were good, I don't think people would complain. I don't think they would have a reputation for being terrible if they were done well, if they were like really well made. But they're just weird. They're just weird, cringe, lazy, worse versions of the story. And nobody wants to just get a worse version of the story as a remake. And I think that's part of why the One Piece adaptation seems like such a good idea to so many people, because, you know, the animation on the old One Piece is pretty old. It can be kind of janky at times. It's going to be reanimated by a fantastic anime studio that does really great quality work. So people are interested, people are excited by the idea of a better version of it. So from my point of view, from the beginning, that's how I perceived this Harry Potter remake, was that it was an opportunity to improve on things. Lots of different things. Like, this is a story that people famously complain about, the differences from the movies to the books, all the time. There's like YouTube videos with millions of views of people complaining about the differences, complaining about the things that they thought weren't done well or were mistranslated or poorly acted. And I made a YouTube video just complaining about one actress in the movie, and it got almost 200,000 views because people have tons of things that they're dissatisfied with these movies, because it's like tons of people's favorite book series, and then, in my opinion, not the greatest film adaptations of all time. So I don't know, I see the opportunity for improvement, and that's why I have been on board with the concept of this remake essentially since it was announced. But yeah, some people have like a weird emotional reaction to the idea of this story being remade at all. In that emotionality, I see a reflection of a dark and unhealthy truth about our culture at large, which is that people make these stories far too important in their lives and put too much of their identity and their emotions into being a fan of these stories. Like, there are people who are just mad at the idea that there's gonna try to be a new Ron, Harry, and Hermione. I've seen like tons of comments like, Rupert, Daniel, and Emma will always be my trio, and nobody's gonna be able to replace them. Screw HBO for trying to get me to see somebody else as these characters. And it's like, Jesus Christ. Is someone putting a gun to your head and making you watch this series and erasing every copy of the movies that exists from planet Earth? Because if not, you're fucking way overreacting, and your emotional outburst actually just kind of makes no sense. Because the movies will always be there. Nobody's taking that away from you. Nobody is stopping you from just ignoring the new thing entirely if it's your favorite thing ever and you just hate the idea of somebody else even attempting to try to do it, then don't watch it. No one's gonna make you watch it. Even if it was like gone, like just the unhealthy attachment that some people have to it. I mean, like I have a very emotional attachment to the movies myself, actually. When the final movie came out, I went and saw it opening night with my mom and my sister, and it's like a really precious memory for me. I understand having like a deep emotional connection to the movies or to the story in general, but I struggle to understand how that manifests as anger at a new generation attempting to take on this story and depict it in their own way. At least the mission statement, according to them, is to try to do it as close to the books as possible, but we will get to that in due time. So yeah, the emotional backlash to the announcement and to the idea of the series is confusing and makes no sense to me. But people who think that it is a bad creative decision, I can understand that. I still ultimately don't agree though. If I was given the opportunity to adapt the Harry Potter books in today's day and age, I would make it a TV show because it just fits the format of the books much better. I think they are going to struggle with the first couple of seasons because those books are just so much shorter than the rest of the series, 1 and 2 especially, but 3 a little bit also. But they're just gonna make those seasons shorter. I think I already saw it's confirmed that they're gonna be doing 6 episodes for the first season, which seems like perfect timing to me. Like, they're gonna just try and do the entire first book. And, you know, improved CGI. Like, I love these movies. I love it. The first 2 especially are actually my favorites. But the CGI didn't age super well on some of it. I mean, like, look at that troll. You know the troll scene with the troll and they sticks the thing in his nose and it's just like, it just looks like a big dopey from Snow White or something like that. It just looks super fake. I mean, a lot of it looks really great, actually. There's like the practical troll that they have in that like same scene. I think it's the contrast between how real and great the like practical special effect looked on set when they're like pulling the thing out its nose and its body is resting on the ground. That all looks great. It's the comparison between that and then the parts where it's fully CG and Harry is just like a piece of bubblegum CG flopping around on top of his head that it looks a bit ridiculous. And things, you know, like the Quidditch sequences kind of look bad and these types of things. But again, just as a fan of this story, it's like, I want to see the story of the Quidditch season get played out fully in a live action adaptation. I want to see Harry go to the Mirror of Erised and see more than just his parents. Like, I remember I watched the first 4 movies before reading the books, and I remember how shocked I was at the part in the first book where he goes to the Mirror of Erised and he sees not just his parents, but like an entire family that he didn't know that he had and was connected to. And I don't know, it was just a really cool difference. It was something that I would have loved to have seen in the movies. And, you know, again, for the sake of practicality, they're like, why, you know, let's just get the parents in there and not do all these extra actors that we'd have to hire and spend money on. I totally get that. Just as a fan, I would like to see this stuff. I think there's other people that feel the same way, and the studio knows that, and so they're making this to appeal to people like me. I see the potential that made them make the decision, and I think it could work out. I think it could be really cool. Do I think it's a guarantee that that is going to happen? Not at all. They could decide to be making crazy changes that are totally ridiculous and different from the books and not fit the tone or the style or anything like that. Again, we'll get to it later. But I think there is room for improvement. I mean, you know, what was my last video about? All about like how everybody was dissatisfied with the way that Ginny was adapted, or people were dissatisfied with the way that Ron is adapted, one of the 3 main characters. There's like millions of views on videos just talking about Ron. People ruminate on this series and their problems with it all the time, and the things that they wished were in the movies all the time. That's not even to get into like how it gets worse as the movies go on. It's around the 4th movie that like the films as adaptations to me begin to like break down terribly. So much is cut out of Goblet of Fire, and so much is changed from the book to the movie adaptation. Like the Durmstrangs are all boys and the Beauxbatons are all girls, and they do this like weird cringe like dance routine on their way in. Like, what the fuck was that? The ridiculous like dragon sequence where Harry is like almost murdered by this dragon and it's just going around destroying the castle and like nobody gives a fuck. And it was gonna be even worse. Like there's deleted scenes of he was gonna go burn down the fucking Forbidden Forest, and like that director for that movie really just went buck wild and didn't give a fuck about adapting the book. I mean, so many things are different, including like just whole missing subplots and characters that are like important to the overall greater narrative. I don't like that one at all. And Goblet of Fire is my favorite of the books, apart from the last one. I just think the last one is, it's just fucking, I love it. But I love the book so much, and I hate the movie. Maybe hate is a strong word. I really dislike it as an adaptation. And so there is a ton of room for improvement as an adaptation. And that's where I'm coming from. This is an opportunity to improve on these adaptations in general. It's a way to like get the things that I always wanted from the movies, or get rid of some of the dumb changes from the movies and depict the story better. They want to take a stab at it. They have the money to do that, and it's probably a guaranteed return on investment. Why not do it? That's as far as I'm concerned. But I know that I might just be out on an island by myself with this take, and that is totally fine. I'm just expressing how I feel about it. And if you feel differently, that's totally valid. I struggle to understand anything beyond I'm tired of watching Harry Potter. I guess I just won't watch it. Anything beyond that is like, where's the motivation to get upset or complain? Again, outside of this idea of they're putting all this money in reboots and I'm sick of reboots, which go pay to watch original stuff then, if that's how you feel about it. But people aren't going to. Audiences just don't know what they want. They say they want one thing, but then they spend their money on the things that they say they don't want. So it's a lose-lose for the studio. They do what the money says that you want, and then people say, oh, I want this. They say with their words that they want something else. But now getting into kind of more of what we've actually seen coming from this adaptation so far, and the different like news and set leaks and stuff that we've been able to see. One big controversy that the show already went through was the casting of John Lithgow as Dumbledore. There were people that were like, how dare you cast a non-British actor in this HBO Harry Potter series? Do you have any idea it's disgrace. Like, yeah, go eat your fish and chips and fucking quiet down. This take makes no sense at all to me, because John Lithgow is just a fucking great actor. Like, when I heard that John Lithgow was gonna be Dumbledore, I was like, dang, what perfect casting. This guy seems perfectly suited to be Dumbledore. He's got the balance of drama and comedy. He has a lightheartedness to him, a sort of childlike twinkle in his eye. He's always been an actor that can sort of straddle the line between serious and playful in a way that just perfectly fits Dumbledore. It just makes so much sense to me. But the fact that he's American, you know, it's like a weird religious blasphemy to some people, the idea of a non-British actor being in Harry Potter. But to me, it's like, it's all about if you're portraying the character well. And John Lithgow has a ton of experience acting as British people. He acted as Winston Churchill in Netflix's The Crown. He's exceptionally good in it. He plays Winston Churchill, like the most quintessentially British motherfucker to ever live. And he does a great job. His accent is perfect. His mannerisms are very gentlemanly, and he does an excellent job. So if he's gonna do a great job at seeming British, then what the fuck does it matter if he was born in America and lives in America? Maybe from some people's point of view, it's like America already has a much bigger film industry and already has tons of opportunity for American performers and actors and things like that. Why would you take this away from a British performer? Which, to that, I would just say, it just doesn't really matter. I mean, it's one actor in the entire series. It's going to be made in England. It's going to be made with a mostly British cast. That's great. There are British actors who play American characters all the time, like quintessentially American characters, like Superman or Spider-Man, Doctor Strange. Frequently and all the time, Americans see characters that are typically American played by British actors, and it doesn't matter because they do a great job of playing Americans. If they do a great job, what can you complain about with it? And that's how I feel about the John Lithgow thing. Yeah, after that news, there was like something that came out that was like one of the director of the first season, or like the first episode, said something about the story being more realistic, and there were people that were complaining about that, which I can understand that if you're interpreting it a certain way. If the idea is that the story is supposed to be more realistic, or like, you know, everything is supposed to feel more like real life as opposed to the fantasy beautiful world that we're all gonna watch to try and enjoy. So that one I can see where some people were like hesitant or maybe a little weirded out by those comments, but I'm pretty sure that what he was talking about in that was he wanted things to be done more practically, like less CG, less digital visual effects, and more special effects, practical, real puppets, costumes, props, these types of things. If that's what he meant by it, then that's a great idea. I think that would be awesome. I would love to see that. Yeah, we saw the news. What are their names? It's Mark Malloyd and Francesca Gardner are kind of like leading the creative team. They worked on that show Succession. I don't know if any of y'all saw it. Pretty good show. It's not like my favorite show ever. I definitely think that it ended worse than it began, but super entertaining, very well produced, certainly outside of the lane of childhood fantasy. So there is a part of me that's like, are these the people that are gonna truly have the passion for this type of story, or is it that they have a passion for raking in the dough and so they decided to take the gig? I don't know, hard to say, but people who might have qualms or like hesitancy around that, I can understand. But also they're talented and professional and probably gonna do a pretty good job. But I don't know, that's more of a mystery and a question mark to me than pushing me in either being more excited or less excited. I'm more curious than anything in that regard. And then as far as the other casting goes, I mean, look at here, we got Catherine Parkinson is Molly Weasley. Look at this Molly Weasley. Tell me that does not look like the perfect Molly Weasley. She looks lovable, friendly, everything that you would want from a Molly Weasley. I think that's great casting. Johnny Flynn as Lucius Malfoy. This one I very, very, very much like. I've seen this actor in an adaptation of a Jane Austen movie, Emma, with Anya Taylor-Joy. He was fucking great in that. I feel like he would be a fantastic Lucius. Seems like perfectly natural choice to me. Janet McTeer as Minerva McGonagall. Yeah, I'm not super familiar with Janet McTeer. Don't really know anything else she's been in, but she seems like visually at least a good casting. Nick Frost as Hagrid, it's a good idea, I feel like. A lot of us know Nick Frost. I like Nick Frost. He seems like a fun, likable, lovable guy. I mean, again, it's one of these things where it's gonna be really hard to compete with such an iconic and fantastic portrayal as our boy Robbie Coltrane, but you know, if someone's gonna have to do it, and Nick Frost is, I think, a strong, solid choice. Luke Fallon as Quirrell. Yeah, looking Quirrellish. Again, don't really know him. Paul Whitehouse as Argus Filch. Never heard of this guy. I guess he looks like Filch. I don't know. They'll have to make him up to make him look creepier and more monstrous and horrible like the Filch that we all love, but I bet they could do it. Lox Pratt as Draco Malfoy. Now, I'm gonna be very cautious when talking about the child actors because I'll get into this more later, but the way that people are so freely discussing and talking about these child actors, almost like they're not children that have access to the internet that could potentially hear what people are saying about them, is kind of crazy to me. And the adults that put all of this attention and pressure on these little kids is just bizarre to me. But I'll give a take. Just I'll keep it light and brief. Looks like Draco. I mean, I don't think anyone really knows what this kid's gonna be like in terms of acting, but yeah, looks like Draco. Leo Early as Seamus Finnegan. I mean, yeah, it just kind of looks like me as a little boy, or like my nephew or something. Yeah, seems perfect. I mean, I don't know. Belle Powley as Petunia Dursley. Now they're gonna have to do some makeup on this because is Petunia supposed to be like gorgeous? Because like, god damn, they gotta put some ugly haircut on her or something. I mean, I guess beautiful people can be awful too, and I guess it never really says that Petunia is not good looking, but I think the Dursleys are kind of supposed to be unappealing, even visually. Daniel Rigby, Vernon Dursley. Again, don't know him. Seems like he'd fit. They're already casting Fudge, Bertie Carvel as Fudge. Why would they already be casting Fudge? That one's bizarre. I don't understand that. Rory Wilnut as Neville Longbottom. Hey, good for you, dude. You got like one of the coolest roles. It's gonna be really cool. Amos Kitston as Dudley. Yeah. Anton Lesser as Ollivander. Now this one I see it, and I like this. I think I've seen this actor before. If anyone's gonna try to follow up John Hurt, again, that's a tough order. John Hurt is a fantastic actor, but seems pretty good. Yep, we got the trio announced. These three, I mean, like, look at that. They just seem perfect to me. I mean, I don't know. Look at Dominic McLaughlin here. Tell me that doesn't look like Harry even more than me. I know what looks like Harry Potter. Let me tell you, that young man looks just like Harry Potter. He looks perfect. As far as acting talent, I don't think anyone knows if any of these kids will be up to the challenge or how they'll do. Only time will be able to tell with something like that, but they seem well suited. I mean, Arabella Stanton actually has like a fairly good pedigree with acting on the stage in West End. We actually have gotten to hear her do a little bit of reading as Hermione because she is going to play Hermione in the new audiobooks that are being recorded that are gonna have like a whole cast and everything like that. And then yeah, Alistair Stout here as Ron. Tell me that young man does not look like a cool little best friend. He looks perfect for Ron. And I'll go ahead and say right now that like, I think everyone that was like bitching and complaining about Hermione being like slightly tan, it's just fucking pathetic. She's gonna be Hermione, it's gonna be fine. Everyone, of course, is gonna make a big deal out of it regardless or whatever, but anyone that's gonna try and give this young girl guff for looking slightly tan and playing Hermione, just like get a fucking life, dude. It's not like her being slightly more tan is going to impact the way that she's characterized in any way. She's just playing the character that we all know and love already, and there's not really a material difference between being slightly tan versus not slightly tan. I think people made way too big a deal out of that. There were a lot of people that were being like super fucking disingenuous and like making these crazy videos like titled like Mudblood, blah 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 Mudblood, and they were concern trolling, right? Like they were like, oh my God, how's that scene gonna look now where Hermione gets called a mudblood? Now it's gonna seem like it's all about racism or something. They're gonna, her being a mudblood, this is problematic. Fuck you, dude. You don't give a fuck about that. You're completely faking having any concern about that in any way. It's total bullshit. And two, it was already a metaphor about racism. The whole point of calling someone a mudblood, it's an allegory for when people call someone a racial slur or like an identity category based slur or insult or something like that. That's always what it was meant to represent. So like your bullshit complaint that like, oh no, now it could be misconstrued as racism. It's like, that's what it already is. In reality, they were just triggered that she wasn't white because it's related to the culture wars and this whole narrative around we're being victimized by Hollywood and all this kind of stuff. And I'm not even saying that there's no room for disliking race swaps or things like that, anything like that, but just people made this tiny change all about that, when in reality, it's a meaningless change that doesn't actually change anything, and they're just complaining for no reason because they like to complain. People bitching about Arabella's casting is ridiculous. It's completely ridiculous. She's probably gonna be good in the series. I don't know. She's super young and is acting on West End. I get the feeling that this young lady is very talented, but I might eat my words on that. Who knows? Maybe her performance won't be good. I don't think so, but it could be the case. And people were like bitching, of course, about Dominic McLaughlin having a Scottish accent, which is like, his name is McLaughlin, so if you didn't realize that he was gonna have a Scottish accent, like I don't know what to, his name may as well have been Dominic Scotland, and it would have been just as clear that he was a young Scottish boy. But if I had to guess, he's gonna speak with a British accent in the show. People make way too big a deal out of it. I mean, like, this is the thing, like, the scrutiny that people are putting on these young child actors, like, oh my God, somebody protect these kids, please, from the psychos on the internet. Like, the way that some people are talking about these kids already is so creepy and so strange. Like, it's like dehumanizing. Like, to some people, they're just so obsessed with the characters that it's like they forget that these are real children with real feelings and real brains and real eyeballs and ears that could see and hear the stuff that's being said about them, and could also feel uncomfortable with the amount of pressure and like freakish attention that people are throwing their way as like little kids. People are like zooming in on Dominic McLaughlin's photographs and being like, what color is his eyes? Oh, his eyes aren't green. This is a disgrace to Harry Potter, blah, 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 blah. What is his voice like? Let's zoom in on Hermione and try to find out what her heritage is. Like, people were like trying to discover her race and like get to the bottom of it. And it's just like, oh my God, you fucking people. I'm excited about this show. I think there's nothing wrong with being excited about the show. They announced the cast, you check out the cast and you have opinions, okay, fair enough. But like, you're gonna go fucking Sherlock detective mode on basically internet stalking these fucking kids and trying to find out their race and like figuring out everything that you can about them. Like, Jesus Christ. And please, 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 God, somebody just keep these kids safe. Just keep them safe from the fucking weirdos on the internet. They're kids first, real human beings with real feelings. That needs to be paramount. That needs to be respected. People in general just need to chill the fuck out, and everyone should think of them that way. Kids first, characters and actors second. They need to be respected. And I have seen already people kind of crossing that boundary. And it's just like, Jesus Christ, man, like, we can't have fucking anything nice, because the internet is just such a sick and demented place. It pisses me the fuck off. Yeah, then we got the Weasleys here. Again, looking great. Look at our boy Alistair. Look at how happy he looks. What a guy. There's Ginny. Yep. They all look like they could be siblings, totally. I feel like they cast people that all look like they could be a big family, could be related to each other. Yeah, Ginny, great. The twins look great. They look friendly, identical, which is super important. Who knows about any of their acting talents or whatever. We're all just being superficial by looking at this stuff and making any kind of judgment. There's not really anything to judge yet. The guy playing Percy, yeah, he looks like Percy. Like, again, just based on how they look, they all look perfect. I think visually, at least, these castings look great. And we got this set for Privet Drive here. Damn, they did a lot of building for this. Yeah, they're really going all in on it. We got some leaks from the King's Cross shoot. They were shooting the King's Cross scenes, and I gotta say, I love these costumes. I love it. I love the 90s aesthetic. Molly looks awesome. Like, Mrs. Weasley looks fucking great. I love that. That looks so cool. Very excited to see how that goes. Ginny's outfit, again, great, super 90s. The boys look great. Heard Ron, people talking about Ron having his Chudley Cannons, whatever t-shirt. That's awesome. Yeah, these leaks look great. It looks like it's gonna be great, to me, anyway. Again, super weird that people can't just let them cook and they gotta like take all these pictures, but I guess I'm being hypocritical because I'm excited and it looks interesting to me, so I'm looking at it. But it looks great to me. I don't see how anyone could complain about this. Yeah, then we got the Hagrid leaks. Nick Frost, the first look of Nick Frost as Hagrid. People were saying that this is like, it's just the exact same as Hagrid from the movies, and it's just fucking bleh. It's the same thing, who fucking cares? But it's like, how are you gonna do this character faithfully, but also not the same as the movies when they did it faithfully? Like, it's just a lose-lose situation with people. If you do it like this, they're gonna complain and say that it's too similar to whatever else. But if you don't do it like that, then they're gonna say it's too different and whatever. Like, people are just gonna be fucking annoyed no matter what. They can't just take things as they are. They can't just take it for what it is. Like, I'm looking at this costume and I'm like, yeah, good costume. The makeup looks good. The beard and the hair look pretty good. People are saying it's not bushy enough or whatever. Okay, maybe. I don't know, just like I feel like I could sit here and try and nitpick and like bitch about random little tiny things, but what is the point of doing that? Again, it just seems like for whatever reason, people are just primed to over fucking react to everything with this series, and these leaked photos just look good. I mean, look at it. I love this one of like the Hagrid with the fake head. A lot of people don't know that in the original Harry Potter, Hagrid in these wide shots was played by a giant who would then wear like a fake head of Hagrid. You can even kind of see it in some of the shots. But yeah, no, this fake head looks amazing. And they got the little dots on his face for animating his mouth, probably, I would say, for like wide shots. Really cool idea. Very impressive technology. I think it looks great. I think costume looks great. You know, people have pointed out he's got the little umbrella wand. That looks great. Dominic in his little outfit, looking very 90s, looks great. These set leaks just look good to me. Got these leaks of the Dursleys here. Yeah, they definitely made them up to look different. Yeah, Petunia looks, they gave her a bit of a crappy haircut, assuming that's her, the one with the sunglasses there. I'm assuming that's her, but they look pretty good. I mean, they look like the Dursleys. But yeah, everything that we've gotten so far, everything that I've seen from like all these leaks and stuff like that just looks quality, looks good. Either the actor looks good or the costumes look good or the set looks good. I don't get what people could be complaining about with all of this. I think at the end of the day, all the volatility, all the weird like rooting for failure that people have for this series is just related to things outside of this story. Unfortunately, it's caught up in all this bullshit, right? Like it's the stupid culture war. There are people who are just going to fucking desire this thing to fail because they hate J.K. Rowling.
J.K. Rowling has cancer. I regret to inform you all that was in fact fake news. The woke liberal media has yet again pulled the wool over my eyes. It is a sad day though.
And they want it to fail because of their investment in literally hating this woman to death and wishing death upon her. I'm not interested in getting involved in any of that. I just like this old book series that I read as a kid, and when I found out they're making this new TV show, I was interested to watch it because my nephew just recently read the Harry Potter books and he loves the books, and maybe him and I could sit and watch this TV show together. Wouldn't that be nice? I could just enjoy a bit of nostalgia for myself, he could really enjoy it, and it would be fun. It's just, it's such an innocent, basic thing that like it's just fucking sickening to me the way that everybody is just so toxic and fucking like infuriated by like everything, every tiny change, every like Hermione's slightly dark, oh we're pissed off, oh they're doing the show at all, oh we're pissed off, Oh, J.K. Rowling has gotten involved. Oh, we're pissed off. Oh, they didn't have Vernon's mustache hairs exactly 30 degrees, whatever, to the left and right. I'm pissed off. Like, everybody, the people get pissed off at the stupidest fucking shit with this. I don't think I've gotten emotionally invested in anything surrounding this whole thing, apart from just annoyed at how everybody's been acting about it. Like, holy shit. It does not matter. This is a frivolous, silly, light-hearted story about magic and wizards, and it's just a nice, simple little thing that doesn't matter. Like, at the end of the day, it just doesn't matter. So why do people get so emotionally invested in it? Why to the point where they could be attacking actual children, that like all they're trying to do is be in a TV show. Let the people working on the show cook. Like, they're not attacking your childhood. They're not attacking you. And if you hate J.K. Rowling or whatever, no one is attacking you by liking this TV show or watching it or being interested in it. It's got nothing to fucking do with that. And you could just get the fuck over yourself. Holy shit. On both sides of this, you guys just gotta chill the fuck out. It's not that deep. I swear to God, it is not that deep. It is just a TV show. Which brings me to the big controversial part of this whole series, that it's like, it's so sad and funny and predictable all at once that this is where we're at with this series. Let's talk about Papa. Let's talk about our Papa. Let's talk about Mr. Esaedu as Severus Snape, our boy. Yeah, Papa Esaedu's casting was unfortunately kind of the big first story that came out for this TV show. Like, worst fucking case scenario for them. It begins with this massive culture war based controversy, which is just, it's like so fucking annoying. Like, I swear to God, I'm so fucking sick of this shit. I'm so sick of it. Here's what I'll say in this case. And I'm gonna speak very delicately about this. I don't think there is anything wrong with people not liking this casting. I'm gonna say that right off the bat. If you saw this casting and thought to yourself, this doesn't make any sense. This doesn't look like the book character. It's the whole point of this adaptation was supposed to be as faithful to the books as possible and adapt things according to the books. But this guy looks nothing like the character in the books. His not just his race, but the fact that he's like super handsome or whatever, you know. It's funny, I think people go out of their way to accentuate that part of it because they don't want to be interpreted or perceived as racist. So they're like, no, it's not because he's black. It's because he's too handsome. He's just way too good looking and probably too intelligent and kind and sexy, and it just doesn't work for that reason. You know, they gotta really hedge when at the end of the day, people wanted it to be Adam Driver. It's funny, like everyone's like, oh, he can't be Snape, he's too handsome. But then with the same breath, they're like, let's make it Adam Driver. It's a bit bullshit the way that people are talking about it like that, because Adam Driver also super handsome, but everyone wanted it to be him. So I think that's a little bit of a bullshit excuse. At the end of the day, you're upset because he's black and the character in the book is supposed to be white. And I think it's okay for you to have feelings about it being different, and it doesn't make you a racist out of the gate. I think you don't need to feel insecure about that. There's plenty of people who feel, there's black people that feel that way. Yeah, you know, like Snape just has an iconic design and an iconic look. Like his paleness, his like eerie paleness is part of, like, he's always alone, he's always down in the dungeon out of the sunlight, so he gets even extra pale and kind of ghostly white. It sort of fits his personality in a sense that he's like almost vampiric in appearance. That appearance is reflecting his internal character, and his look is just frankly super iconic, and changing it in this way takes away from the iconic impact of how his appearance aligns with his character. I think this is a legitimate thing to talk about and to have feelings about. Again, it doesn't really matter, but if you feel that way, then you just feel that way. That's not that big a deal. Like, when I saw the casting, I'll say that the first thing that I thought was like, what? Like, it was the first time with this whole series where I was just like, why would they do that? Like, what a weird decision. And it immediately struck me as like, why would you do that? What's the point in doing that? I don't see how this makes sense to do this. And again, people are concern trolling about this, right? Like, it's like when people complain about that, where they're like, oh no, it's gonna be racially insensitive and it's gonna look like whatever. It's like, actually, in the story, Snape is the racist character. The race, you know, it's not actually about race in the book so much, or I guess it kind of is, but not really. It's more about like blood, and it comes with a different sort of connotation in the book, where it's like about whether or not you have magic, and if your familial line has magic and all this kind of stuff. And he's the one that calls Lily the awful thing. He's the one with prejudice, actually. And to me, I don't think there's anything wrong with depicting the reality that a black character could struggle with personal prejudice in that way and face the consequences for it, and lose a relationship that means a lot to him because of that prejudice. I don't see anything problematic with the races being in any direction on that. If Lily was black and Snape was white and vice versa, it's all just a metaphor for how personal prejudice can harm people and their relationships with each other. And him being a black guy is not gonna ruin that or change that in any super meaningful way. And people that act like it's going to, it's total bullshit. But yeah, so if you're a person who just saw this casting and you're like, it doesn't make sense, I don't get it, seems unfaithful, it gives you the impression that they're going to be unfaithful, I'm not here to question or challenge you on that. That's totally legitimate. If that's how you feel, I even understand it largely, and I agree. I definitely am thinking to myself, like, what is that going to end up looking like? Like, how is that going to end up working out well? It's confusing, and if you were to ask me, do I think it is going to work? I would say probably not as well as if you had just cast an actor that fits the iconic image that we all already have of this character in our mind. But this is the thing with this series, where it's just like, it's a no-win scenario for them. If they do something different like this, everybody gets upset. But then if they do the same thing like with Hagrid, then everybody gets upset. And just for people like me who just want to see a live-action adaptation of these books done with as much detail and as closely to the books as possible, I just want to see them do it. I just want to see them give their best. I am frustrated that everybody is going to constantly be taking issue with it no matter what the fuck they do. Like, it's crazy. People are so eager to be dissatisfied by this thing, either because of their personal disdain for the author, or their hate boner for the entire franchise, or their unhealthy, insane obsession with it, where they love it so much that like any difference at all is sacrosanct and sacrilege and all this kind of stuff. Or they're just bitching about culture war stuff because they spend all of their time just complaining about black people being cast in this and cast in that and whatever, or just complaining about the culture war in general. I don't think that this casting makes sense either. Just from a like marketing, business, everything point of view, it just doesn't make sense. Creatively, I wouldn't have cast this guy. And I think it's fair to like say that if you're accusing people of being racist for not liking the casting off the rip with nothing else other than them saying, oh, he doesn't look like the character, I don't get this casting, and you're calling people racist for that, I just think that that's unfair and doesn't really make any sense. Because if Papa Esaidu was cast as Snape in like an animated adaptation of Harry Potter, and they like made the character design look just like the Snape that we all know and love or whatever, they did a drawing of him that looks just like Snape as we picture him, and then he just did the voice for him, I don't think anybody would care. I don't think anyone would really take issue with that, or very few people would take issue with that. And to me, that is to say that what they're really upset about is the loss of the iconic look that they are attached to, not really like upset about the race angle of it as much. But I will say, I do think that there is space to call people out for being way too obsessed with this one change and acting like it is the biggest fucking deal of all time. And it's like a personal betrayal, a super politically charged attack on them. And it's related to all these other things that at the end of the day, you're not being victimized by this change. It is a confusing, arguably creatively bankrupt idea to change it this way, and arguably motivated by like, you know, liberal cultural ideas of inclusion, that we need to try to have a diverse cast, so we're gonna do a race swap to try and appeal to liberals because liberals are super upset at Harry Potter, and so we're gonna try and do this thing. I mean, if that was their idea, what a spectacular backfire it was, because the types of liberals that are just gonna hate Harry Potter forever now are just gone. They're not gonna come back because you put a black Snape in the show, but it's the people that it's like their obsession with the story, and it has completely defined everything about how they look at it. If your thing is just, oh, that casting is confusing and I don't know, doesn't seem like a good idea, or even if you're kind of rolling your eyes and being like, oh, another race swap in one direction, right? It always goes in one direction or whatever. If that's your take, okay, that makes sense, that's valid. It's the people that like, it's the biggest deal ever, and it's like defined how they think about this show entirely moving forward now. Like every video about this TV show has like the top comment is like black Snape, black Snape, black Snape, black Snape, blah 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 blah, like Papa Esiudu is Snape. Oh my god, they made Snape black. Blah, blah, blah. This is one casting in the entire show. Like, why is it your entire fucking personality to complain about this? Like, why is this the only thing that you can focus on in the entire show? Is it really that big a deal to have one bad casting in a TV show? And this is the other part, is that like, yes, I understand from a conceptual point of view thinking, oh, this doesn't really make sense, but at the same time, let the man fucking try first. Like, fucking hell. Nobody's even seen him attempt this character. We haven't seen what he's going to look like. We haven't seen what his performance is actually going to be like. Give it a shot before you shit your pants and freak the fuck out about it and act like it's the worst thing ever. Again, I wouldn't have done it. It doesn't seem like the greatest idea in the world to me, but like, I have an open mind for the possibility that it could be done well, even if it's not done as well. It's like, oh, you know, it's still kind of lost the iconic look, but man, he really is giving a great performance. Do people really think that that's like impossible to happen? That that's like inconceivable that that could be the case? This is similar to like when people were bitching about House of the Dragon, and in House of the Dragon, there's the House of the Valerians, and in the book, they look like the Targaryens. Super pale white skin, white hair, and like very bright colored eyes. That's like the description that the book has for this family in Fire and Blood, the book that it's based on. And people were bitching in the exact same way about the fact that they were swapped to black characters. But then, funny enough, these same people that were bitching about it ended up loving the House of the Dragon TV show, and making videos about how much they liked it because the actor did a good job and it was good, and it played into the story in kind of an interesting way, and it didn't define the entire series and like change everything and make everything ruined or everything horrible. But people are acting like it's the fucking end of the world that they decided to cast this black dude as Snape. But it's just like, holy fuck, give him a chance. Like, I'm not saying you have to think it's a good idea, but like, how can you hate something that you haven't seen? And I know there would be people that would like come back at me with something like, yeah, but if they cast like a 5-year-old whatever little girl as Snape, you would immediately know that that's a horrible idea and blah, 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 and this type of stuff. And it's like, yes, okay, there is a line with this kind of thing, but his skin being black versus white is just a visual difference. That's really what it boils down to, is that he will have a different look than what we are used to associating with this character. And that's not a meaningless distinction. It's not completely meaningless, and it could impact the way the character is perceived. I think that's fair, but you can't act like it's the same thing as that example. Snape is pure white, vampire looking. This guy is super dark, handsome, whatever. And so people notice that difference more and feel like it's going to impact the way the character is perceived more. Okay, that's understandable, and if you conceptually have a problem with that, I think that's fine, whatever. Maybe try to leave the tiniest bit of an open mind for something a little bit different that you could potentially enjoy. Like with House of the Dragon, it's funny, I don't like the change. I think it made more sense that the Valerians looked like the Targaryens because they come from the same type of ancestry. They come from the same fictitious country that was destroyed earlier in the mythos of the Game of Thrones universe, and them looking so different just kind of is confusing and doesn't really make a ton of sense and leads to some weirdness with like the bastard children subplot where it's like everyone knows that these are bastard children. There's no mystery associated with this storyline now in a way that it could have been if you stuck to the way it was done in the book more. So it's like, in that case, it was actually more consequential to the story, but people still liked it. And I liked the first season of that show. Okay, so while I was editing this video, a few pieces of information came out that I wanted to very quickly address. One of them is that Warwick Davis will be returning as Professor Flitwick. I mean, obviously he was great in the films. He was the perfect choice for Flitwick, and I just think it's a great choice. I mean, of course, this is only going to add to the noise of people being like, what is the point? But I don't care. And if he is interested in doing it, then that's great. The other piece of news was a rumor going around that HBO has an open casting call for both men and women for the role of Voldemort. And of course, people are shitting their pants freaking out about the possibility of this being the case. Already, everyone is just assuming that that means that they are open to changing the sex of the character. They're assuming that the point of it wouldn't be that a woman would play a man. Like Voldemort in the books has a very high-pitched voice, and I don't know, there's something to the idea of the character being sort of androgynous as this evil, whatever, almost inhuman figure. When me and my friends were talking about potential castings, I actually said to my friends that my number one pick was Tilda Swinton, because Tilda Swinton has played men convincingly in movies before. Tilda Swinton kind of looks like an alien in a great way. I love Tilda Swinton. She's very talented, but I don't know, I could see her playing this character in a way that doesn't not make him a man or make it a man. This is acting. If their idea is that they're open-minded to something like that happening, I really don't see what the point of everyone freaking out and shitting their pants is. I mean, apart from that, it plays into the narrative of, oh, we're being victimized by woke Hollywood and blah, 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 whatever. But this is all assuming that, one, this rumor is real, and two, that if it was real, that they're going to cast a woman. And then on top of that, everybody is assuming that this means that if a woman were to be cast, that she wouldn't be playing a man in the story. They're assuming that that means they would be changing the sex of the character entirely, which is yet another assumption made by these people in order to be given permission to bitch and complain about something. Let's wait and see what it is, because you know, if it is that they were going to change Voldemort's character to being a woman and it's not Tom Riddle, it's Tina Riddle or whatever, yeah, that would suck. And I would think that that was a stupid change, but that isn't the case. But people are acting like it is, again, to have a reason to complain about stuff. And it's so annoying and I'm so sick of it. But yeah, it's just a rumor. Nobody knows anything. There's not any real information that's coming out about this. That's really all I have to say about it. I am exhausted with the psychotic, emotional outburst energy that people are putting towards this series, because it's so funny. I'm a casual Harry Potter fan. I'm not so emotionally attached that I'm pissed off that the show is even happening in the first place, and I'm not so overly emotionally invested in it that like any tiny little difference is gonna trigger the ever-loving fuck out of me and make me like go creepy detective mode on all these little kids, or fucking leave a comment on every single video of somebody talking about this being like, Black Snape, oh my god, can you believe that Snape is black, blah, blah, blah. I'm sure there's gonna be comments on this video all about, you know, just Black Snape, blah, blah. Also, it's like, it bleeds into the realm of like, some of y'all are just like actually being rude as fuck to this guy when all he did was accept a job that is probably gonna give him a ton of money. Like, if you're an actor, you take the job. You can't be mad at this guy for taking this job. I've actually heard people like say that he should have turned down the role, and it's just like, oh my god, dude, fuck you. If that's your take on this, literally go fuck yourself. Because try being a professional actor and then turning down 10 years of work and probably more money than you'll ever see for the rest of your career in anything else. Like, he would be a fucking idiot to say no to it. And you're an asshole for telling him to like fuck himself in that way. What? Because you don't like the way he looks as the character? Like, to get mad at him, to act like it's his responsibility, just makes no fucking sense. So yeah, are you excited about Harry Potter? Jesus Christ, I feel like I just exorcised a demon. The fucking demon of all the psycho energy surrounding this story for whatever reason. I mean, I guess it's a testament to the power of the narrative that was created originally, that it has captured people's feelings so intensely that they get so bizarre and weird like this around it. But yeah, I guess if you're one of these people that's overly emotionally invested in all of this news and is either stalking the children or pissing your pants and crying about Snape being black 20 times a day or any of this stuff, like just chill. Just chill, man. You're fine. You could just pretend that it doesn't exist. That's the part at the end of the day that drives me so crazy, is that like, whatever, if you're upset about anything about this series or any aspect of its existence, you could just ignore it. And nothing would be different for you. Nothing. If you're like the big Harry Potter fan and you don't like it because it's gonna, whatever, they're changing this, blah, 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 whatever, you could just pretend that it doesn't exist, and you could read the books and watch the movies and no one could stop you and it would be totally fine. And if you just, if your thing though is that you think that it's you're on the moral high ground and you're gonna have a moral crusade against anybody who likes this silly little wizard story, just get over yourself. Like, it just doesn't fucking matter. And you don't have to watch the show. No one's making you watch it. Just don't watch it. But what do y'all think about this? Am I crazy? Am I crazy for being excited about the concept of this show, but then being utterly exhausted by the emotional outcry of all these fucking losers freaking out about it in one direction or another? Do you agree with me that it looks good? Like, basically everything that we've seen leaked from it looks good? Do you agree with me that the castings seem pretty good for the most part? Do you agree with me that Papa Esaidu is a confusing and questionable casting choice, but that it's appropriate to keep an open mind before hating the shit out of it? Do you agree with me that Logic looks like Harry Snape? Please feel free to share any and all thoughts that you have about this series in the comments below. Just stay respectful to each other, please and thank you. Leave a like on the video if you liked this video. Leave a comment, helps my algorithm, and feel free to subscribe if you're interested in more videos like this in the future. But yeah, that's all I got for you guys today. Thanks for watching. See ya.